Hello, this is my very first video, so I will be very not well seasoned, not at all. This is my room where I listen to music. I play video games. When I say video games, I mean arcade games. I have four big arcade games in this room, and it's not a big room at all. It's actually my dining room. This is the front door to outside, right here. It's Halloween right now. When you walk in the house, the first thing you see is my bar. I figured it could be a dining room. We could put a dining room table here. I do have a wife. I told her all we will do is put mail on that dining room table, and it will just build up, and we will never have people over. We'll always think we're going to have people over, but we never really will. And or we can turn it into a bar and actually have fun with the room. And that's what we did. So I have my album collection here. I have a Star Wars wall. I have an old school toy shelf. I have a lot in a 15 by 12 room. If you see it on video, you may think that it's bigger than what it really is. Let me just show you the albums. Right now, I have, my phone's doing, see? That's my first. Right now I have all my, since it's Halloween, I have my scary album covers presented forward. Ozzy, Bark at the Moon, pretty scary. Alice Cooper Goes to Hell. Iron Maiden, Eddie killing someone, Kiss, Gene Simmons looks pretty cynical and evil right there. And not only do I have the album covers there, but above them, see Bark at the Moon, I got Ozzy there. I got an Ozzy wine that I found online for like $40. It was kind of weird that they actually shipped the wine to me. I mean, what if I was like a 16-year-old just trying to get drunk? Ozzy there, I bought a nightlight that changes color, put it behind him. Then I got aluminum foil and put it behind the light so the light would seem brighter and bigger. And it sits there behind his stained glass windows and changes color. Then I had this little Matchbox car for a long time, and I stuck it there. And the skull seemed pretty cool, so I put it there. And this is actually the first Black Sabbath cassette I ever bought. I think I was 14. It has Paranoid on one side and Heaven and Hell on the other. And I used to listen, I'll confess, I used to listen to Heaven and Hell all the time, more than Paranoid. And I got the 13 Black Sabbath poster behind it. And here, above Alice Cooper, I have Alice Cooper with some green lights I found for sale. They were Halloween lights, and I got an Alice Cooper signed flat. They used to call them flats back in the day. I cut it because it was getting pretty raggedy, and I framed it. Met him in 1990. I was underage, 20 years old at the time in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and he gave me a beer. I got a picture of me and him, but I don't show it to many people because I look really bad with a bad mustache and bad mullet. But anyways, here above Maiden, I got all my Eddie stuff. You can see I put a light under the tall Somewhere in Time Eddie. And got the glassware and the beers, the Trooper out in front. In this big tin thing here, the Trooper beer came in that along with a glass. And then there's 2 Minutes to Midnight figure. And here, above Kiss, I have Kiss. I actually have an Ace Frehley that's coming next week. I'll put him behind Paul there. And there's some Kiss sodas. And that in the back is actually just a simple old tablet I had. And I downloaded this moving picture, and I just keep it there behind them, and it kind of works as their backdrop during their concerts. And above that, I have a chalkboard where I keep what's new, all the new music. You know, some things that are less than 4 months old. You know, maybe 5 months, less than 5 months old. And I watch a YouTube show, Lock Horns on Banger TV, and I put their logo above there because they use a magnet / chalkboard on their show a lot. And here I grew up loving Pat Benatar, and I got a signed DVD of Pat Benatar and her husband Neil Giraldo. Bought that at our show at Vegas. I think they made a mistake because when I asked how much it was, they said $20. And there's no way that thing was supposed to be $20. Maybe $20 without the signatures, but with the signatures, it had to be a lot more. So when they said 20, I grabbed it. And there is an Alice Cooper album above Alice coming out of the wall, so it seems. I actually used to have a Death Star that came with that fake cracking in the wall, and I moved the Death Star to another wall. You couldn't take off the fake cracking, so I put an album there because it was the same dimensions as the Death Star, and it worked. So there is that. The other scary albums: Dio, Dream Evil, Evil Dead 2 soundtrack, the new Behemoth, the new High on Fire, which is becoming maybe my favorite metal album of 2018. Maybe my favorite album of 2018. The production on this thing is amazing. It's so slick, but so sludgy at the same time. I don't know how they merged the two sounds into one great sound. Down here I got boys are called Imaginos, which is looks like Frankenstein's castle there. They actually sing about Frankenstein on this album, I believe. Just got this today, The Cramps, which is a old punk band that it's a pretty weird album, but I always loved the cover, and the vinyl's yellow, so I grabbed it. Dracula 79 soundtrack, the first movie that ever scared the bejesus out of me. I think I was 11, watching it in my bedroom, and when Lucy came back to life and tried to grab her father, it still gives me chills today when I watch it as an adult. Ghost, the first Ghost album. I can't believe this band became as big now. If someone would have told me 8 years ago that they'd be as big as they are now, I'd say they were smoking crack. One of the most scariest album covers ever, Black Sabbath's First. Soundtrack to the Damien. Not really a horror movie, but my favorite movie of last year, A Ghost Story. And this cover actually glows in the dark. The words in the Ghost Story glows in the dark, and the ghost glows in the dark. And I've had this since I was 8 years old. It's just a sound effects album, and I still play it today whenever trick-or-treaters come. So there's that. There's a lot more to this room. There's the arcade games I'll get into another time. My TVs, my toys there from my childhood. Not all of them are original. I rebought a lot of them. My Star Wars stuff, and I save a lot of Star Wars stuff on this light, so I call this my light saver. Yeah, I know, dorky. Up there, it's not lit right now, is the Death Star that used to be where the Alice Cooper album is. TV there. I got a total of 4 TVs. Little dingy one there, my big screen, my other okay, decent screen, and a black and white one there that I used to watch when I was a real small kid, and I just keep old school shows playing on it, like Alice and All in the Family and Three's Company and all that crap. Except on Saturday afternoons, I'll put a college football game there, along with on all the other TVs. So the bathroom is there. I have that's another story on itself. It looks like a comic book store basically. And up here is my lunchbox, old school lunchbox collection that I will get into another time. All right, I'm going to try to figure out how to edit my first video where I showed my face and this video together and see what happens. Thanks.